We have been traveling, and back from Syria, I wanted to bring you a conversation I had with some of the women in Damascus. As we've said before, it's a secular culture. I think a lot of people are surprised that you can choose to wear the scarf, not wear the scarf. You see everything in the streets. But I sat down with them to talk about them and us. The women of Damascus. They tell me covering your head is optional here. For Amal, it feels like keeping touch with tradition. But she says the things people ask her are strange.
Somebody also once asked me, do you have hair? Do you dress your hair? Of course I do have beautiful hair also.
Did any of you ever wear the hijab?
No. Actually, what I wanted to say is that you have in Syria many religions living together. I'm Christian, for example. And I've never asked any of my friends, what is your religion?
I, as a Muslim, pray 5 times a day. But I've been every single Christmas to the church with my friends, so it just shows what we truly are.
What do they think of American women? They say we have so many opportunities, yet they'd give us something from Syria. Safety on the streets, family to help with children, and the government helping too.
They could be a lot better, family and professionally wise, in making family life in balance with the profession. I feel the U.S. as a very rich and strong country could have offered a lot more for working women.
I think relationships here are much better, like family-wise. The children stays at their parents' home till they get married. So this is really a very, very different point. Like, it's not like in the United States.
We have very cheap and much better kindergarten and nursery. I put my children in nursery since they were 2 months old. And that's how I was able to keep my career and have a family. It's much easier for me to be a career woman with a family in Syria than it is in the U.S.
What about marriage? These women say family influences your choice, but if there's someone you love, there's always a way.
I think then if you want to find someone who loved somebody in Syria and wasn't able to marry him because of family pressure, you wouldn't find any. There are always ways. You talk to your uncle and to your aunt and to your grandmother and the father and the uncle interferes. You know, I loved an Iraqi, and came from Britain, loved them in Britain, and I came here and managed to marry him.
Would I be surprised by Syrian television? Is there sort of a Sex and the City Syria?
I don't think so. You would never find
Too much talk about sex on American television?
I don't think so, basically.
Too much talk about sex?
No.
Yes, I think so. Yes, I think so. And I think it has to be done properly and to be put in perspective.
Contrast that to Syria, they say, where there's far less teen pregnancy, possibly because a young man knows he's facing not just her, but the whole family. Is it that Syrian men are more respectful?
Yeah.
They don't try anything?
No, they do. But I mean, they respect the ladies and everything because they know it might bring some problems
with the families.
With the family.
I can hear right now American parents saying, what is the secret of these families? That you don't have teenage rebellion?
No.
You don't have teenagers storming off and saying, I never want to see you again.
No, I'll tell you something. Rebellion is something every generation goes through. It all depends on the level of rebellion. It could be expressed in so many different ways. It could be, there are levels of rebellion.
They rebel and go outside the family.
If they rebel, they go to their aunt or uncle.
And from the women of Damascus, a final message to women here.
Well, I want to say that we share so many things at a human level, whether we are Jews or Christians or Muslims. There are so many things that we share. When we meet together, the things that we differ about are much smaller than the things that we agree on. And therefore, let us not allow politics and strategies of some parties to keep us far apart. Let us work together for peace in the world.
Again, I can't stress enough how they kept saying, we look at your culture and you can't keep the family together just geographically, and it makes such a difference that everyone lives at home, men and women, into their 20s until they get married. So the family stays intact, and again, you got to answer to the whole family, as I say, for whatever you do out on the town.
What did you take away from being around these women?
Well, you know, they are remarkable, and I do take from them the fact, first of all, they know everything about us. Everything. They see American television. There was a Paris Hilton picture on the cover of the Syrian newspaper when I was there. We know virtually nothing about them.
And that, when I was watching your interviews, your things that you were bringing us, I'm sitting here thinking, we're so surrounded by American culture, we forget. Everyone's dealing with the same issues, keeping the family together. Is there too much sex? Conversation. How do you educate? We're all dealing with the same things. Your interviews point that out.
That's right, and as she said, can't we just leap over the governments and say, we just want better lives for our kids?